back here today with another deck profile. This is Cristo from Yakamoto, here today with our friend Nathan. What did you do today?
38th place at Fort Worth Regional.
38th place. How many players were there today?
It was a 512 cap.
512 cap? I heard some of your friends didn't even make it in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we'll get them next time.
Hey, Bondi, do better about that. Do better about letting more people into the event. What were your matchups like today?
So I had one Rebecca, that was one of my losses, one Queen, that was also one of my losses, one Dofi, 2 Katakuris, and 4 Lawmirrors.
4 Lawmirrors?
Yep.
Oh my god.
And I did not drop a game.
Didn't drop a game? Dang, you went through the ringer. Okay. Well, let's get right into it then.
Alright, we have 4 banned cards to start off. Cards 2 broken, free searches, has a lot of synergies with Bonney. You can search the Luffy and the Zoros together. You can also search the Chopper, which is also a 4 over in this deck. You have to run 4 of each because being able to search Nami into Chopper is broken. Being able to search a blocker in general is insane, and then being able to search these 1-drops so you can populate the board is just too good. We have 3 of the Dawn Namis. I kind of felt like I was going to fight a lot of Whitebeards today, but it didn't come up at all. And the Dawn Nami is really good because every turn you can swing 6 at Whitebeard, you just pester that card or you keep pushing their life. And ultimately that's what you want to do, because once they hit 0 life, you can just start restanding and just keep putting the pressure on.
Yeah, definitely. If they don't get rid of that, that's free value.
Exactly. So a lot of times they'll end up popping the Nami over like a blocker even sometimes, and it feels really good.
Yeah, like the U+, then you get essentially like 2 pseudo blockers.
Exactly. Then we have 4 Otamas. Otama is really good in this deck. You can do a lot of shenanigans with it, but a lot of it comes down to -2ing their stuff and then being able to swing into it pretty efficiently. Instead of having to swing at base, you know, you're swinging over it quite a bit. And then you can even, if you really want to get spicy, you can use this with Blocker Law. You play this, bounce this, play Blocker Law, and then play this again to get -4. Sometimes it comes up. Then we have 4 Bonnies, the best card in the deck. You have to have this card, it makes the entire deck run. Too good, so much value. If this stays on board, you know, they just lose. For 3 Beges, I was running 4, but I felt that 3 is stronger because Whitebeard can pop a lot of them, and Zoro, things like that. Like red in general is just going to get rid of them. Or even yellow now with the Amandes and the Struzans, they can just wipe your board, get rid of all your blockers, and then swing really hard. So I opted to play less Beges, and I'll explain what I swapped it out for later. 4 Curlies. I feel like Curly wasn't exactly stellar performing. I only have 15 targets in the deck, so sometimes it can definitely whiff. It doesn't feel great when it happens, but whenever it hits, and it hits a Chopper or, you know, a 2K counter, a Searcher, it's all really good. So we definitely play it just for the high roll potential.
And real quick, I know you were leading into the event, you were thinking about completely cutting the Curly Dadan. What made you stick and go with the Dadan for the event?
Mostly because it's banned now, and I'd like to get my use out of it while it's still legal. I was having an issue where it kept whiffing and it would just put a bunch of my blocker laws or just good cards on the bottom of the deck, and it was really frustrating. But ultimately I feel like the trade-off is worth it because you just get more card advantage. You just want to, you know, if you can eke out any little bit of attrition with the law deck, then that's the most important factor. You have 4 Sanjis. I also thought that I would be playing yellow a lot today, so I opted to play 4 of them. You can do a lot of cheeky shenanigans, like if they caught a Curry, Blocker Law or something like that, you go Sanji, you know, add it back to your hand, and then you can just shambles with whatever you added. So there's a lot of nice stuff you can do with it, but at the same time it didn't come up at all. I wish I had played more of the Brooks instead. I only had 2 Brooks. I think going forward I would go for like a 3-3 split, maybe even a 4-2 in favor of Brook instead. Mostly because on your restand turns, and if you want to fill the board, if you need to fill the board, you can just play the Brooks, and then the Brooks are like free bodies. the nami as well, so it helps a lot. Because on your restand turns, you want to use as much dawn as possible to get that big swing. You know, swinging with Luffy for 12 is different from swinging with 14. So it can make a huge difference in how many cards you're ripping and if you can really actually push for game. Moving to the 3 drops, I played 3 Rush Zoro. Rush Zoro is crazy. This card is so good. It just applies so much pressure, whether you swing with it or not. Because sometimes you don't want to swing with it, but in the event that you do, it's nice that it's there as a rusher. A lot of times, especially into Law, definitely would bounce it with Law, play it, and then, you know, swing again for 5, just to try to get more cards out of their hand. So having that gave me a pretty big edge in the War of Attrition, because that's really all this is. I played 1 starter deck Zoro. Again, I thought I would be playing a lot of Whitebeard. I think this card is really good into Whitebeard, especially combined with the Nami. You can just put a Dawn under it for free if you have the Nami on board, and then it's just super nice. You can swing 7. It comes up against every other deck too, because swinging 7 is never bad. Then we had 2 Robins. This did not come up at all. I wish it did. The one time that it was on board, it got Otama V-Stud, so it feels great. But it didn't matter anyway, I still came through, so.
Nice.
Second best card in the deck behind Bonney is Blocker Law. Blocker Law is insane, actually so good. Self-explanatory even. 3 restand laws. I really thought about playing 4. The 4th copy though, I feel can kind of, you know, brick your hand a little bit. A lot of times you'll just be sitting with restands and nothing to restand. So it makes it kind of awkward, but at the same time, whenever you have everything else and then you have no restand, it's also awkward. So it's kind of a trade-off. Then 2 Rush Luffys, MVP of the day for sure. That one, it just, you know, being able to swing unblockable is crazy. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just raw cards from their hand. If they have nothing and you restand that, it's game, more than likely. The second MVP of the day was definitely Hawkins. Came up in 2 of my mirrors and came up against some other matchups. The Hawkins was just so much pressure, a lot of my opponents couldn't handle it. Just getting all that free value every turn, that restand, you know, swing 8, swing 9, swing 10 even, and then you just restand again. It's like, they're gonna let whatever you're swinging at die, and then you can either keep it restood so that they can't hit it, or you just keep pushing. And then 1 Rad Beam. I do like the 1 Rad Beam, it's pretty nice. It does come up a lot. A lot of it comes down to being another blocker from hand. A lot of times they're going to swing 7, swing 8 because you already have blockers on board. So being able to counter out is very, very useful. And then the thing that I swapped out the 4th bege for is the guard point. I felt that I was going to be facing a lot of Whitebeard, and in anticipation of that, I felt that the guard point would be useful. It definitely came up. It wasn't a bad card all day, and I definitely don't miss the 4th bege, even in hindsight. It all worked out, but it was pretty good.
Alright, would you say there's any spicy tech in here that you were personally proud of for this weekend? Especially playing against like 4 other Law matches. Like, did you see any difference in playstyle or card choices that kind of put you in an advantage?
I think the biggest difference was the Hawkins. The Hawkins is really good into the mirror. If they try to block or if they try to swing at you, you just clear their board and then you just rip more cards from their hand. So a lot of times they're not going to save their stuff either, and even if they block with a weenie blocker, you're still hitting again, so you're just constantly trying to rip cards from their hand, clear their board, just get more cards out as much as possible and try to, you know, really push them down.
And then overall, you would just say that for the day, the Rebecca and what was the other loss that you had against?
Queen.
Queen. What was that one like? 'Cause I know Rebecca has a good matchup against Law, but what's the Queen matchup against Law?
By his turn 3, he had 4 blockers on board. His first 2 lives were Brûlé, Boa, so it definitely wasn't a great match for me. I didn't even see Bonney that game or Luffy, the 2 things that probably could have bailed me out. So it was really unfortunate, but you know, if you get high rolled, you get high rolled. That's just how it goes sometimes. And into Rebecca, obviously Rebecca is a terrible matchup for Law. It does not feel good to play into. You know, turn one, I played Nami, and then immediately he played Leo to pop my Nami, and I was like, yep, that's how this is going. So it was unfortunate, but we still pulled through. I mean, I won 4 mirror matches. That feels pretty good.
4 mirror matches. You proved that you're the best law.
my last round opponent made a huge misplay, but you know, mad respect to him. He still played well despite that, and overall, I had a good time.
Yeah, and more importantly, you played well. Last regional, I think you got scuffed at
129th, yeah.
129th.
I was
so,
1 place out of being top 128.
So from there to this regional to make 38th, there's nothing to be scuffed at.
Yeah, I bubbled out at top 32, but you know, I'll take what I can get, honestly.
Yeah, we'll take that Josie any day.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you so much for this deck profile, and we will catch y'all on the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and again, swing for game.
Swing for game.
I hate you. You are all bad players. You suck. You suck. My penis is large.